How to make America utopia, take away the economy from those who rigged it. As I see it, class warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the entire United States. Good morning to the entire world. How are my peeps doing this morning? Remember, many around the world are receiving the signals via the magic of the internet, formerly known as ARPANET, created by who? Created by you, all of you. Your tax dollars created the internet, then controlled by a plutocracy, and then charged you again to use. Wow, the magic of socialism for the rich. Anyway, folks, without any further ado, let's go visit with our geniuses in el estudio. That is Howard Reynolds and Jacques Van Beba. Good morning, brothers.
Well, here it is. There it is, Tuesday morning at the radio, the 15th of July, 2025, and we're still standing here. The tin cans and string are holding up. And Jack has, do you have, what was that, one sentence over there?
No, it's going to be on my phone.
Oh, well, how about you, Mr. High Tech?
I'm coming out of the 19th century.
That's
All right. Yay. How you doing, Jack?
You should see him busily writing away on with his quill in the morning. You're dipping a little ink, ink barrel and the quills.
Us boomers are awful. I know.
It's pretty amazing.
Okay. All right. This was his post yesterday. The ICE kidnapped immigrants are just a dry run. Irrespective of your status, you could be next.
Exactly. That's what I keep saying to the MAGAs.
Yes.
You are next. It's not could be. It's you are next.
Yes, this is the way authoritarian regimes go. The current immigration enforcement regime represents a dangerous escalation of state-sanctioned dehumanization that threatens not only undocumented immigrants, but the fundamental civil rights of all Americans. The conditions witnessed at internment facilities like Alligator Alley demonstrate systematic violations of human dignity that mirror historic patterns of oppression. This enforcement strategy serves as a testing ground for authoritarian control mechanisms that will inevitably expand beyond immigrant communities and target political dissidents, activists, and anyone deemed undesirable by those in power. The detention facilities have inhumane conditions with overcrowding, inadequate sanitation, and extreme temperatures. This is creating an environment designed to break down human dignity. We have an expanding surveillance state. The normalization of demanding papers from anyone with melanin or perceived foreign characteristics establishes a precedent for arbitrary stops and harassment of legal residents and citizens, particularly targeting communities of color and avoiding white immigrant enclaves. Historic pattern recognition, the current enforcement approach follows documented patterns of authoritarian regimes that begin with marginalizing specific populations before expanding control mechanisms to broader society, using the initial targets as practice runs for broader oppression. That's what's coming.
Yeah, alligator Auschwitz. That's exactly what it is. And those people, the people who went down there to tour it, and they had all those people screaming, "Help me, help me! I'm a U.S. citizen." Where are our human rights demonstrators? Where are our human rights people? Because they're asleep at the wheel. This is human tragedy going on right in front of our very eyes, and our government sanction it.
Yes, they're going to get us used to this, and then it's just going to seem normal when you see your neighbor carried off.
Mm-hmm.
by jackbooted thugs.
Thank you, Jack. Very insightful. Egberto, what you got for us today, man?
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about, but I want to start with what Jack spoke about because he's so right. Let me tell you something, guys. Um, as a naturalized citizen, and every naturalized citizen that is listening to me, even well, maybe not Melania Trump, who got here illegally at first before she got naturalized, of course. But she's, I guess, protected by the great Führer, but should be concerned. There's a lot to this birthright citizenship, and there are a lot of lawyers out there that are saying, "Oh, it's a slam dunk." No judge has ever gone against birthright citizenship, etc. Well, take a look at all the times that this current Supreme Court, that is owned by the right wing, that is owned by the Heritage Foundation, look at how many things that they went against presidents, and you know they moved the clock backwards. So as far as I am concerned, uh, I'll be very, very aware and do a lot of speaking now because I do a lot of speaking and I do a lot of speaking up. I am always concerned about, or will always be concerned about, leaving the country to come back in. And let me just give an example. There is a young man right now held up at Bush Intercontinental Airport, we think. We don't know if they've moved him away, but his father's an American citizen. He is from Gaza. He has a legal visa to come here, and they're interrogating him, and they refuse to let him into the country officially. So he's stuck at the airport purportedly. Uh, Again, just arbitrarily. Another person that we saw came out and told his story. This is a born American citizen because he went and did some protest overseas. He comes back. By the way, again, like I said, this isn't a birthright issue. Supposedly, he's born in the United States of American parents, and he's back here. They, as soon as they opened his passport, they looked at him and they said, "Well, we've been randomly selected for interrogation." And luckily he knew his rights. Well, I don't know how much rights save you right now, but they asked him a whole lot of questions, and they tried to get into his phone. All of this, he refused to let them into this phone. They took his passport away. After they couldn't get anything out of him, they were allowing him to leave without his passport. He refused to leave without his passport, and his persistence made them give him everything, and he just left and came back into the country. So immigration can make your life very difficult. And in my case, like I said, it concerns me about leaving the country because you just put my name on the internet, and this administration wouldn't be all that pleased. So those are things that are very concerning in these times, and it should be concerning for everybody that's a naturalized citizen for now, and all Americans, because he has even spoken about just throwing bad people out of the country. Yes, that's what President Trump, the great Führer, has said. So right now he's coming for the undocumented workers. Next, he'll be coming for the naturalized citizens that are to him ill repute. And then he'll be coming for everybody else that doesn't fall in line with his autocratic regime. So, folks, if you think you are safe, even MAGA, let me give an example. Right now, there are a group of misbehaving MAGA, the ones that want that Epstein files open. But it's sort of from the top. It's sort of the leaders in MAGA that's raising hell. The average MAGA folks are just in love with Trump. As an example, Republicans have screwed up the handling of the floods on the Guadalupe River, and there's a reporter who went to help his son in the Guadalupe area clean up his house after it got flooded. And so this reporter says, "Let me go around and ask a couple of questions." And he goes and he said, "How do you guys think FEMA is working?" "Oh, FEMA is working. It's lousy. they're not doing their job, etc. We want FEMA to work better. And he told them, well, President Trump just said FEMA is doing a great job. The same woman who just said that turned around to the reporter and said, well, Trump knows best. That answers the question to a particular sect in this country who Trump will do no wrong. There's a level of indoctrination there that many of us don't understand. Anyway, folks, welcome Joe from Los Angeles, California. Lisa Blair from Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome aboard. Harry Denson from Missouri City, Texas. And in the house, we have on the Substack stack, we got Kat MXXS, March KJ. How you doing, beautiful? Gayla Cooney says, Pope Leo declares a global revolution of love. Louis Rollins, welcome. March KJ says, morning Egberto back in Chesapeake, Virginia. Holly just joined us. It's never happening. Just joined. John A. John Davis, welcome aboard. Love having you here. All right, we have some other things that we need to discuss. The first thing I want to touch on here, folks, is tariffs. And I'm writing an article tonight, or this afternoon, I guess it'll be. And the title of that article is going to be Trump could actually, or I'm not finalized on the title yet, but in effect, Trump could actually win the tariff war. And why is it that Trump could win the tariff war? He could win the tariff war because, one, people don't understand what tariffs are actually going to do. And number two, it is boring, sort of explaining the intricacies of tariffs. And let me tell you what happened yesterday. Yesterday, I had two segments that I did. I kind of cut and clean up from the show yesterday morning, and I played those two clips on the show in the afternoon. And I don't remember who it was, but when I played the second clip, which was a short clip, about 4.5 minutes or so, but it was the most important clip. But it dealt with numbers, it dealt with taxes and how we're being screwed with taxes, etc. And there was a comment in the chat that said, boring. And that triggered me because what it said is, wow, I get it. And you know who else gets it? Trump. He understands that when we are talking about the technicalities of how the policies that they are creating to screw us all work, when we look at the technicalities of these policies, we know how they work. They're screwing us. But because we find explaining and learning many a times boring, they succeed because, again, we don't internalize the damage that they are causing on us. And again, because we don't internalize this, it is then easy to say that what can happen is caused by that which is deemed boring. So what I want to do this morning is try to half bore you with tariffs, at the same time give real mode information as far as how it actually affects you. But yes, I understand. And by the way, it isn't the person that says it's, but now I'm remembering who it is. Boring. There's nothing wrong with calling something boring if, to you it is boring or what. There's nothing wrong about that. What it is, however, is it's a way for hosts and people who are trying to relay information to acknowledge that they have to change the way in which they say things to get maximal output. In other words, to get people to really, really understand what's going on. So what I'm going to do, and believe it or not, that comment changed the way that I was going to talk about tariffs this morning, and then cut, and this same piece I got to cut and put it for the afternoon because again, this is important. And when I say Trump could win the tariff argument, I mean Trump could win the tariff argument. So, how do we start here? This is how it's going to go, folks. The first thing I want to do is explain what is a tariff and why a tariff. Because a lot of people don't get it. They just think a tariff is the amount is a tax applied to products coming into the country, and somehow that country is being penalized from a tariff. Let me explain. Tariffs do not penalize countries at all. Tariffs do not penalize countries at all. The purpose of tariffs is to raise the price of a product on the country who is buying the product. So the United States buys from China, the United States buys from Vietnam, the United States buys from all these countries. The purpose of that tariff is to raise prices on that particular product. So when Donald Trump says that there won't be inflation from tariffs, then you have to ask him, then why apply the tariff? And we know why. I'll go into that a little bit later. The reason you definitely want tariffs on particular products is so that those prices are higher. And what is the definition of higher prices? Inflation. So you want, if you're using tariffs as they're supposed to, you want inflation on those products. So let's use the cars for an example. Trump always says, if tariffs are so bad, why didn't Biden take the tariffs off of electric cars, which I think he actually raised? And the reason why is they did what they wanted to do. They wanted to raise the prices of foreign electric cars to a point where American electric cars would be competitive in price, because Americans cannot build electric cars as cheaply as China would. And therefore, if America doesn't put tariffs on Chinese cars, there's no incentive for American companies to build American cars, because they couldn't sell it theoretically for a profit. So henceforth, high tariffs on electric cars means we can actually create an electric car business until we learn how to cut prices until we learn how to put economies into making the cars cheaper. So you want inflation on the products that are tariffed. Okay? I hope that part is clear. Now, the way Donald Trump is applying tariffs, however, across the board on countries will not create manufacturing. It'll just create a inflation one time. And he knows that. He knows that. He knows that tariffs, if you just apply it across the board, all it does is raise prices across the board. All right? But here's the kicker, and this is where I want to talk about the results of tariffs. When you raise prices caused by tariffs, that price rise occurs one time, at the time tariffs are applied. Example, if I am buying a shoe, if I buy a shoe, okay, and that shoe costs $10, and I put a tariff on $10, what do you think happens? That shoe, let's say I put a 10% tariff on that product. What happens is that product now costs $11. And if that product now costs $11, that $11 product will remain at $11 for the duration forever. So when we calculate inflation, we're going to say, oh, there's a 10% rise in that shoe that costs $10. So it'll be $11. And the next month, it'll be $11. So what is the inflation rate the second month? 0. The first month, it is 10%. And thereafter, if that shoe remains at $11, the inflation caused by tariffs is now 0 after the first time the tariff is applied. Because forever now, that shoe would be $11 until they decide to raise the prices. That is one thing that Trump and his people know. The tariff is the increase in price by a tariff is a one-time event. Now, when he talks about, well, let them eat the tariff, meaning the companies eat the tariff, he understands something else. For all of you who listen to my shows, when I talk about pricing power, you don't have pricing power. But corporations have pricing power. The people who import and ultimately sell the shoes, they have pricing power. Now remember, that shoe that they buy from China at $10, they normally sell that shoe to you maybe at $40. Okay? That is the kind of markups that we talk about when you're buying Chinese product. That's why Temu got so popular, because Temu cut out the middle person altogether, and Temu went ahead and sold Chinese products directly to you. So the same Chinese stuff that you were getting and paying higher prices in Walmart or whatever that were marked up sometime 100, 200, 300, 400%, you can actually buy it and they mark it up maybe 50, 60%. And you look and you, oh, wow, I'm getting a hell of a deal. So when Walmart goes ahead and sells that $10 shoe, that $10 shoe that was marked up by a 10% tariff, which is now $11, if they're selling that shoe for $40, if they sell it for $41, you don't see it much because it's not a 10% increase in the price. It's less than 10% because of the retail price. You are actually marking up that much less. Donald Trump knows that. His economist knows that. So when they do that, they understand. They understand that the Walmart and all these others may keep that price at $40 for the when the tariff just hits. They may then go to $40.25 a month later. A couple of months later, they may go to $40.50. So what they'll do is they'll manipulate the inflation rate, because again, they love what Donald Trump ultimately behind the scenes is doing. And I'm going to explain how they love what he's doing in the back end. But I see Roberto, who I asked to call in early this morning. So I'm going to finish this tariff stuff, which is extraordinarily important, after Roberto, because Roberto wants to come in and speak about a very important things Pantex is doing for the flood victims. So Roberto on line 5. Entra, hermano mío.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Texas. Yes, I did ask Mr. Egberto Willis with Politics Done Right on KPLC.
KPFT.
KPFT, yes.
Don't mix us up, man.
Oh, right. KPFT, they've been doing a wonderful thing for the Houston anyway, and out the region. They've been doing some fantastic broadcasting, giving some great information. But anyway, Pantex wanted us to collaborate and to put this information out and to see whoever would love to donate or make any type of parish goods that we can send this elaborate big mission out to Kerrville. On my staff, I do have Miss Ingrid, which she is the project manager, and she's the one who is taking the whole of this rescue mission to Kerrville. I will let Miss Ingrid, and also we do have Miss Christina on there too. They will be able to give you some more information about what Pantex and what another business that is would like to involve themselves to do with us.
Okay.
Miss,
let's go ahead and get Ingrid. Ingrid, por favor, comienza a decirme what we're going to do here in Kerrville.
Yes, good morning. My name is Ingrid Green. I am a Pantex member. I just would like everyone to, I exhort everyone to come out on Sunday, July 20th from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. We are going to be set up outside Island Spice Bar and Grill, 17802 West Little York. We'll be collecting items for the victims of the flood. We're going to be collecting non-perishable food items. We also need gift cards. Or I was told by a friend of mine that's up there helping that they need credit cards, gift cards to buy food, groceries like H-E-B, Grover's, and also for restaurants. They also need cleaning supplies because right now they are in the cleaning stage. And also they need baby items. They need they need dog food. A lot of them have pets.
Mm-hmm.
So we are doing this donation drive on Sunday. We'll be personally members of Pantex and Pantex Strong, which is our volunteers, will be driving up to Kerrville. By no later than next Wednesday, we'll be delivering all the items personally to the people of there in Kerrville. We are in Kerrville, Texas. So we encouraging everyone to come out.
Again, Ingrid, can you please give me the address that exactly where this is going to occur?
17802 West Little York. 17802.
Little York.
West Little York.
West Little York. So, folks, please, please, please remember, let's do our part. Pantex is a great organization that does a whole lot of this sort of social good. Cristina, is there anything that you need to add?
No, sir. Just come ready to work and ready to help out our fellow neighbors up in Kerrville.
Well, look, let me tell you, folks, I wanted to get Roberto. Roberto is the president of Pantex. It's a Panamanian organization here in Houston that is out, sort of promoting the Latin American spirit, flavor, cultural heritage, and also, of course, as a veteran in the Iraq War and many other endeavors that he can't speak about, of course, he put this organization together, and they're doing a great deed in making sure that our brothers and sisters in Kerrville get at least some assistance. There are many other groups out there that are doing this. Roberto, I want to thank you very much for all the work that you do with Pantex. Ingrid y Cristina, muchas gracias por todo lo que están haciendo. Thank you so kindly for all that you do. Roberto, we'll talk later on this afternoon. Okay, my brother?
Yes, I just want to do a closeout, and first and for all, I want to thank you. I want to thank KPFT, and I just want to let the listeners of KPFT is that Pantex is always there, stand by there, and we will put our boots on the ground whenever that KPFT wants to do a fundraise to meet their goal, because again, Houston.
Brother,
So
we can't talk about that on the air, but let me just tell you
thank
this.
you.
I do want to talk to you about at some time, maybe along with Politics Done Right, something that we can do together with KPFT. As you know, we are a public station, a community radio station, and there are always opportunities for us to do these great endeavors. So, I mean, I got to get back to the program, but I want to thank you so kindly, Elson. You know what you always say, soldado firme. So let's go ahead and talk later on, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, Ingrid, Cristina, and Roberto. Thank you guys for calling in. All right. I wanted to get that up because there's a whole lot of organizations that are helping out in Kerrville, and Pantex is one of those organizations. One of the reasons I also wanted to get that out is many folks think that los Latinos que vienen aquí, that folks that are coming over here, they're just taking and taking and taking, farthest from the truth. It's about giving, and this is a group, many other groups as well, that go out there and give and do their duties to community. Pantex being one of them. Anyway, I want to get back to the tariffs, and then I'll get to the phones. Folks, as I mentioned before, when it comes to tariffs, you do want the price, as I mentioned before, that you do want the prices to go up. Absolutely so. You want the prices to go up. And you want the prices to go up so that it'll give an incentive for the high price manufacturers here in the United States to make the products. But here's the problem. We have been importing products for so long that all the manufacturing of the machines needed to make the products that manufacturers use, most of them are not made in the United States. So we would, even if we decided to create a manufacturing sector, a larger manufacturing sector, if we wanted to get back into textile, we don't make those equipment anymore. If we wanted to get into certain kind of plastic moldings, we don't make a lot of those equipment anymore. If we wanted to go into glass processing, like the person I brought on to the show a few times ago, a glass manufacturer out of Pennsylvania, he has to import a lot of his equipment for doing these issues. Okay? Now, here is the deal, people. Here is the deal. Why is it that Trump could win the tariffs argument? Like I mentioned, the inflation is a one-time event. So that $10 shoe that that importer that spends $10 for that shoe pays an extra dollar for a 10% inflation, tariff, or a $2.50 for that tariff. If it's, let's say, a 25% tariff, that $10 shoe is now worth $12.50. But he sells a shoe for $40. So the increase in price, he can throw that increase in price slowly. And guess what else importers know? They know that you think tariffs are 10% or 25% or whatever. So what he's going to do is he's going to increase the prices of those products slowly. When you look at inflation, inflation would just simply go up slowly over time, but he's not going to stop at the $2.50 that it increased in price. He's going to keep going higher than the tariff rate. So Donald Trump is promoting a fixed inflation on all of us. Now, what does that really mean? It's dishonest. And why is it dishonest? It's dishonest because now you, the American people, that $40 shoe that you now pay $41 or $42 for, and remember, this is not only on the shoes, this will be on your avocado, this will be on your milk, this will be on everything that you buy that comes across the border. Because remember, he's applying a tariff on everything from countries in the aggregate. So it is, when they talk about it being a sales tax, it's really a sales tax, but it's a permanent tax. So Donald Trump is salivating right now. And why is he salivating? Because guess what? In the first few quarters, they have collected from in tariffs over $100 billion. And some people say less, but let's assume it's that $100 billion. All right? That $100 billion is money that wasn't there before, and it's money now going to wealthy people. Remember that magic thing called the tax cut bill? So what he did to partially cover the deficit of that's going to the rich people is he says, but how can I get around it? I can tax the entire economy called a tariff. So now every working person on the planet or in America, they are going to pay they are going to pay for that tax cut with these tariffs, and he's going to collect all this money not from China, not from Vietnam, not from Brazil, but from you. So when he says 50% tariff on Brazil, what he means is that everything that's imported from Brazil in your Fiesta store, in your HEB, that extra cost that they're going to add on to it, you pay as an individual. You pay. And then he collects the money, the treasury that is, and it goes to the wealthy person. Again, it's a way of saying, I am going to increase your taxes without you knowing. He goes ahead and he says, no tax on tips. Well, guess what? You pay for groceries every day. You pay for gas every day. You pay for all these other things every day. So while he may say I'm no taxes on tips, he should say but taxes on everything else. Taxes on everything else. And it's boring to go through the numbers. Yes, I know. But in effect, he slows the economy down because every extra dollar that the working class, not the rich, every extra dollar that the working class takes and gives to the treasury as a tax. Remember, that increase in price is a tax that goes to the treasury. Every increase in price there is money not spent to buy an extra burger. It's money not spent to buy an extra book. It's money not spent to buy to make the car that you're buying a little cheaper. And in doing that, what does not buying those things mean? Not buying that extra burger, not buying that extra can of goods is equivalent to a slowdown in the economy. So what they have traded for is in order to tax you and give the money to the rich, they have made the bet that you won't blame them for a slower economy created by their tax on the working class. But the converse is true. If you tax the wealthy that and give that money from the wealthy back into the system, that money gets spent. And what is spent money? Economic activity, increased in the economy. Because the rich person being taxed doesn't change their lifestyle. They're not going to buy an extra burger because they weren't depriving themselves of an extra burger because they didn't have any money. But the working person, they denied themselves an extra burger because they couldn't afford it. The dynamics between the economies of a rich person and a poor person is so different and has different implications on the economy. But if people don't know it, they don't know what ails them. So we have to find a way to speak to people to let them know Trump's tariffs will take your job away. Not that a 10% tariff is going to increase the price by X amount, and because of we need to let them know simply the outcomes. The tariffs will make all the working class poorer, and we have to somehow get that into the fold. Let's go to Johnny, line 1.
Egberto, that was an excellent explanation, a revelation about the inner workings of how tariffs really exist and what they do for the common guy, for the working class guy. Richard D. Wolff and Robert Reich will be proud right now. they would claim you as their A-plus student.
Well, thank you for those kudos, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, your explanation was not only revelatory, but it's a good example of how we like to say all the time, or I like to say, that numbers don't lie. Republicans do. Donald Trump is a Republican, and he lies all the time. And he's clever enough, and he's got people behind him advising him enough to pull this stuff over the walls of the people's eye. Speaking of which, pulling over the wall, that woman in that flood zone who responded to the reporter's question that you shared earlier, where she was critical of FEMA needs to be doing this thing, to be over here and doing that. They're not doing their job. And then when she was told by the reporter that Donald Trump said they're doing a heck of a job, Brownie, she says, we got to trust him. He knows best. That is an example of how we always like to say, I know you and I both agree on this, is that Republicans, by and large, have a hard time admitting when they're wrong. They refuse to admit when they're wrong. They would just as soon cut the nose off their face rather than admit, like we do. We are okay with admitting if we make a mistake or when we're wrong. We're fine with that. I think that's human nature. But I don't know what species we're dealing with when it comes to these people. And
let me just say, Johnny, the problem is that they don't care if they're wrong. That's, and that is even more dangerous. They do not care if they're wrong. When you sit down, if you hear Howard talk about having an argument on Facebook, and he gives them facts and he gives them all these matters, none of that matters, because their concern is not being their concern is they don't care that they're wrong. They just want to make a point. But hey, Johnny, I've got a bunch of calls and I got to go. Give me a quick closer.
Real quickly, I was trying to figure out, after listening to Arnie Arneson this morning, they're talking about the Supreme Court, Ronald Reagan helping him get closer to abolishing the Department of Education. And I always thought about that quote about we're always one generation away from anarchy or something. And I always thought it was with the literacy. If you don't teach literacy, reading and writing to the generation, we're always one generation away from anarchy. And I can't find it. And instead, it keeps coming back with freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction.
There is no. I know what quote you're talking about. Keep searching, brother. Keep searching. I got to go, Johnny. I got to go to Donald. Thank you, brother. But keep searching. I want you to come and tell me what it is, because I know the quote you're talking about. Donald, come on in real quick, brother.
EW, is smart, you is kind, and you is important.
Oh God, I love my MAGA brother here. Talk to me, Donald.
Hey, the gotcha moment or gotcha thing doesn't get you anywhere. It shuts down communication. So,
amen.
Picking pepper out of fly crap is bad when these people call in, especially when they ain't got a point. Now, it's good you see where the tariffs are going, like I told you, where they were a few months back.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. If, for somebody from yesterday, the Jesus I follow is a homeless dude that runs around that don't have a pot to piss in this world. And you know what? It's because moths and thieves will take everything. And they might have thought he was crazy, but at least he died for what he believed in. And the people that are sitting there using him right now to do all this bad stuff, they're going to pay their price, not in this world, but somewhere else. But, no, I appreciate you, what you're doing. You carry on, because it's always good. Because I have danced with the devil, and I've been carried by my Lord.
Thank you, my dear brother.
Everybody needs to find their own way. Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too, brother. Let's go to John. Come on in, John. Line number 3.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. Though, even though I'm a believer, I don't believe that I should, put my head in the sand and do things and not pay attention and, enable people because of my lack of, I guess, involvement, allow people to do really hideous things. I'm not, it's interesting, people go on and on about Trump derangement syndrome, which is what they accuse us of. But yet, as you've revealed, they believe that Donald is a god. So I call that Trump worship syndrome. And frankly, we should be concerned. Obviously, we're getting ripped off, and as you pointed out yesterday, they get a tax break. They buy our debt, and then they make us even pay for that. So we're paying. We're going to pay in higher prices, and it's irrelevant to them. And I don't know what their end point is. I mean, it's interesting because somebody mentioned Richard Wolff
Wright and Richard Wolff,
Wright. Yeah, and I would add Stephanie Kelton.
Oh, Kelton is great. Yes, she is great.
Yeah, and other countries are not buying into this kind of thing. He has people brainwashed into thinking that he's making a big deal and that the countries that he's putting tariffs on, they're going to pay for it. And this is why, as you pointed out, we need to know about economics. And it's really a fascinating thing because we call this political economy, and the political economy that a country buys into it causes either prosperity or it causes death, really, or it causes.
All right, I'm gonna let you end on that statement because I got to go. But I love what you said. It causes prosperity or it causes death. Think about what Brother John just said. He's actually very right, both in healthcare, both in food safety, and much more. And by the way, John, Kelton is the one who is the best explainer of MMS, which is money theory. What's called money theory? Modern monetary theory. Modern monetary theory. Thank you, John. I got to go to Bruce. Let's go to Bruce. Come on in, Bruce. Bruce, you only got a minute and a half because I'm running out of time. Come on in, Brother Bruce.
Okay, I'm just going to bring in a couple things. I'm not going to go to my main point because of time. First, what's the date again on that food drive? I know the address, West Lily York, but what's the date again?
I am going to get all of that for you again and make sure to put it on tomorrow again because my mind is fried and I can't remember what Ingrid said, but I'll make sure and have it for it tomorrow. But we really need to go out there and help out. Yeah.
Okay. The other thing is a reporter asked a pertinent question of Trump, and he goes, "At this time, how can you ask us a question like that?" He chastised the reporter. But remember, Trump, when he went to Palisades, he was asking questions like that. What about the water supply?
Right.
What about the valves? All right. So it's hypocrisy. I'm not going to go to my next point. It takes too much time, so I'll finish with a funny if I may. May I?
Yes. I love your funnies.
Okay. A little tiny Chinese girl tried to join one of Epstein's parties, and he turned her down. He goes, "You're far too young." She goes, "How do you know my name?" The other point is, we know he did an excellent professional job committing suicide. We know that because we keep hearing from the coroner and the ladies that he was well hung. I'm done.
Oh, Lord. You're a terrible person, Bruce. I thought you were a nice guy. Actually, I'm messing with you. Thank you, Bruce. Have a good one. Let's go to Brother Jimmy. Come on in, Jimmy. How you doing, sir?
Hi, Roberto. The other thing about these tariffs is Trump does not put them on every country. He's choosing countries where he's putting these tariffs. For example, he's going to put them on Mexico and Canada, so the price of those goods will go up. The American consumer may not have a raise, so they may not be able to afford those products from Mexico. They'll choose to buy products from Europe or China or Vietnam, or even hopefully made in the USA. That's supposed to be the goal of Trump. And I have this question about tariffs. I heard somebody say that tariffs are supposed to be set by Congress, not by the president. So
that is true.
That true? I don't know if that's true.
That is true, but the Congress has ceded that power to the president. You know, this Congress and this Supreme Court has ceded a lot of their Section 1 and Section 3 powers to the president. It's unheard of for a court system and a legislative system to cede the power to executive. It makes absolutely no sense. That's what's happening. I want to make a minor correction, Brother Jimmy. Donald Trump has applied across the board tariff of 10%. the negotiations is what above that 10%, or if people make a hell of a deal a little bit below the 10%. But what he has done is he has put an across the board tariffs, and all this other stuff is to make the across the board tariff palatable to us all. It's, believe it or not, I hate to say this, but the way Trump is handling the tariff stuff from a communications point of view for the uninformed is perfect. I mean, for you who understands, for all of the you who understand, he's doing something crazy. But for the uninformed, my God, he's playing it like a piano, and like he's playing an opera perfectly. And that's the reason I wrote. Go ahead, Jimmy. I'm sorry.
He's also penalizing countries that he doesn't like what they're doing. He's penalizing, I believe, for Brazil because they're
Bolsonaro. Yeah.
Wow.
But here's the deal, Jimmy. Jimmy, here's the deal. Bottom line is, the working class, the people who are his largest supporters, are the ones who are going to be made to lose their homes, etc. There's a lot of other stuff that I want to talk about that we don't have the time to, and I need to go to the other caller. So, Jimmy, thank you very much for the call. Thank you for your constant support of KPFT and Politics Done Right. We'll talk tomorrow. All right.
You're welcome, Humberto. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. Let's go to Brother Rob. Come on in, Rob. Rob, line 4. Are you there?
Am I there? Are we speaking?
Yes, we're speaking.
Oh, that's good. I thought I was calling local, but yeah, I just had a couple of things, and mainly a compliment to you and to KPFT Houston for being there and for sending best wishes to people.
Well, thank you. Anything else you want to add to that, Brother Rob?
Well, that's most of it, but I'm sorry, I'm in physical pain because I did fall and hurt myself last week, and I feel like I'm 29. You know, once we hit our 40s, 50s, 60s, nobody's 29 anymore, but we try our best. But there have been angels sent. I have perhaps my Yorkshire Terrier, who is my main angel, sent from God, and so he, along with a couple other folks and KPFT, my radio, I have a Yorkshire Terrier. All he hears is blues music and KPFT.
Well, look, I want to thank you, Brother Rob, for being a great listener of KPFT, and we try our best to make sure to serve you guys. So you have a wonderful rest of your day, my brother. All right?
Yes, and you too. And for real, there are doggies, there are kitties, there are angels that we don't know that are angels that are next to us.
Thank you.
KPFT, certain radio stations are angels.
We could not get a better compliment than that. We couldn't get a better compliment than that. Thank you so kindly, Rob. All right, let's go to Brian. Come on in, Brian.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. Let's talk about numbers since you refused them. FDR took the tax rate to 94%. In 1923, 23% was the unemployment rate in 1932. In 1936, it was 19, with a 94% taxation rate. The world went to war in 1938, and our unemployment rate was like 14%, with a 94% upper tax rate. Now, these are factual numbers. It did not go down dramatically until Kennedy came in office, when he took the tax rate from 94% to 74%. That spurred the economic growth through the 60s. Now, that is a fact. You keep...
All right, now that I keep nothing. Now you made your factual statement that is wrong, of course, as usual. Let me point out, once CNN actually tried to put that chart on TV, and I went ahead and pulled the Labor Department numbers and prove that the chart that CNN placed on the screen was actually incorrect, and they changed it. Let me point some facts out for you now, sir. All right. And the fact of the matter is, taxes, reduction in taxes to the wealthy absolutely do not create economic activity. And if you take a look at the charts, that is the reason the GDP is more than 50% better under Democratic leadership than under Republican leadership. Those are numbers that are over time, not in segments of time that one can see. The statement I just made is absolute, verifiable. The labor statistics are there for you to see. Again, you simply don't understand how to read what you just said. All right, let's go. Let's close this out now. That's it, Brian. As I said, you're simply wrong, my brother. Let's go ahead and go to the studio. Studio?
Well, I was just sitting here listening to this, and Brian, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Jack, you got anything? Nope. Jack says no. So
all right,
take it, Roberto.
All right, folks. Wow. Hey, guess what, Howard? I was trying to manage those calls. I'm learning how to kind of do the calls so that we can finish in time and still give everybody an opportunity to talk. And it worked today, man. Wow, I can't believe it.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I had an opportunity to jump in, and I appreciate that because sometimes I have something to say and sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
But, FDR, we need to bring back the wealth tax, is what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
It's getting out of hand.
Absolutely.
And anybody look at that chart from Kennedy and the FDR, see, there was economic growth throughout the last part of the 40s, the mid part of the 40s on up after World War II, through the 50s with Eisenhower, and the 60s, it started to crumble toward the end under Nixon. So a lot of this stuff that we see now economically started under Nixon, and Ronald Reagan made it worse.
Oh, he killed it. He's the one who started the effective supply side economics on steroids. But so it's amazing that's this. Look, guys, I didn't call out all of you on the two different chats. Forgive me, but we had a packed thing, and then I needed to get Roberto in to talk about what Pantex is doing, etc. We got to get out of here. Remember, the rest of the program is at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You can actually write me directly at kpft@politicsdoneright.com, kpft@politicsdoneright. I love you all. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!